Recording in progress. That means it is time to begin. It is wonderful to see all of you here today and all of you online. Right now, we have about 40 people logged in online, so let's give them all a hearty greeting. If those of you sitting in front, we can wave and say hello, say welcome to all those who are joining us on Zoom. Welcome, welcome, welcome to all of you who are here this morning. I am the Reverend Peter Friedrichs. It is my great, great pleasure to be leading worship today with Chrissy Bushyeager, our Director of Religious Education, Bob Rowland, our Music Director, and Joy Thiessen, our accompanist. And I want to give a big, big thank you to all of those who helped to set up today and are part of the morning worship team, particularly Don Sloat, Marilyn Huff, Chris Townend, John Davies, and I'm sure I'm forgetting other people, but it takes a lot of people to put this production together. So we are very grateful for everyone who showed up early and helped us to set up. This is a gathered community, one community gathered in two ways, this multi-platform service that we are trying out. UU congregations all across the country are trying to do something similar to accommodate both our needs and our desires to be together, as well as to ensure everyone's safety. So thank you for being here today. I want to let you know, if you have brought a stone for joys and sorrows, you can bring the stone forward now and place it in the basket. And if you haven't brought a stone today, we invite you to bring a stone later on, sometime later in the fall. Anytime you remember, you can bring a stone, and we will resume our sharing of stones of joy and sorrow today. The other thing I want to let you know is while we will be dropping stones in silence, and we've all gotten used to kind of, thank you folks, we've kind of gotten used to using the chat to express our joys and sorrows. We have a way for you to do that. In the service, we'll be dropping stones silently, but all week long, you can share a joy or sorrow through the link on our website. So I invite you to do that anytime you are moved to do so, and then they'll be brought into the service the following Sunday. Chrissy, would you like to offer a few other words of welcome?
Yes, good morning, everyone. It's wonderful to be here with you. So I'm going to move over here a little bit. So the words for our songs are available on the song sheet you have there for our songs and prayers. If you are joining us on Zoom, hi Zoom, you can click on the link from our website and get those words as well. After our service, we have the first of our RE classes that are being rolled out over the course of the fall, and that's an OWL class for our 5th and 6th graders. They're going to be meeting over here by the picnic benches. So I ask you to leave them alone so that they can get on with their class and have a little bit of privacy with their teachers. So as you mill about after church, if you'll just let those classes just start for their RE program. Thank you.
And for those who are joining us remotely, and we have people I know from as far away as Maine and potentially even California today, I want to let you know that we will have breakout rooms and coffee hour that way virtually. And so please just stay around after the service, and you will be invited into a breakout room so you can talk with people in a little smaller group. For those of you here who would like to do that, we invite you to stay safe, maintain your distancing, keep your masks on, feel free to mingle. But as Chrissy said, we want to leave the lawn area over by the picnic tables available for our religious education program. So thank you again for being here. Let us rise in body or in spirit and join in singing our opening hymn, Building a New Way.
We are building a new way. We are building a new way. We are building a new way, feeling stronger every day. We are building a new way. We are working to be free. We are working to be free. We are working to be free from hate and jealousy. We are working to be free. We can feel every We can feed our every need. We can feed our every need. Start with love, that is the seed. We can feed our every need. Peace and freedom is our cry. Peace and freedom is our cry. Peace and freedom is our cry. Without these, the world will die. Peace and freedom is our cry. We are building a new way. We are building a new way. We are building a new way, feeling stronger every day. We are building a new way.
All right.
Please remain standing and join me as we recite our covenant together. Enriched by our differences and joined together in our search for meaning, we covenant with ourselves and each other to seek truth in a spirit of love, to strive for justice, and to serve others with a joyful heart.
I would invite you to be seated, please, but I would like to ask the Davis family to come forward to light our chalice this morning. It's wonderful to see you all here. So Natasha and Justin were a couple of our Zoom tech folks while we were strictly on Zoom, so we thank you for your service. I don't know if the little tea light stayed lit because of the wind. You can use the lighter to light the chalice, but I have these words written by the Reverend Scott Taylor. May this flame cast its light toward the coming days, reminding us that the future is not simply a place we are going, but a place we are creating. The path of new possibilities will not be found, but made. A new world is waiting to be built. May our time together light the way. Thank you so much. Thank you to those who brought stones in today. For those of you who are new to our community, I want to let you know we use these stones to represent the joys and sorrows in our lives. We drop a stone into the bowl of water, the water representing our community. And just as the stone is surrounded by that water, so is the person who drops it surrounded by the love and care of this community. And so I'm going to offer a blessing upon these stones and a blessing that will apply to any stones that are brought in anytime during the year. These stones are simple. Some are round, some are rough, some are smooth, some are large, some are small. They are a diverse collection, just as we are a diverse community. Rock of river, rock of mountains, ancient rock of endless time, we bless you. You have come to us from distant lands and our own backyards. You are the world made visible in this sacred space. We give thanks for your presence among us. May you carry well all the joys and sorrows, all the celebrations and concerns that are entrusted to your care. Be strong and steadfast for us. Be the foundation upon which this community is built. May all who have brought you here and all who touch you and drop you into the water over the course of the year feel the steadfast love that surrounds them. May they be held fast by the constant care and compassion of this blessed community. And in the days to come, may our use of these simple stones for naming and claiming the sacred moments in our lives remind us to seek out the holy in the most ordinary of things. Amen. I invite you now to join together in singing our centering song.
There is a love holding me. There is a love holding all that I love. There is a love holding me. I rest in this love. There is a love holding me. There is a love holding all that I love. There is a love holding all. I rest in this love. There is a love holding me. There is a love holding all that I love. There is a love holding all. I rest in this love. I rest in this love. I rest in this love.
And so now is the time in our service where we are invited to come forward to drop a stone of joy or sorrow into our bowl of water. I ask you to come up the aisle on this side and come around and depart that in that direction so we have a smooth flow. And please be careful of the cameras and the wires and everything else. But if you have a joy or a sorrow that you are carrying today and you'd like to represent it by a stone and dropping it in the water, I invite you to do so now. If you are with us online, I invite you to figuratively, if you don't have a stone in your hand, to drop it in a bowl of water as well. Just do that figuratively instead of literally. All are welcome to come forward. I drop this stone to represent all of the joys and sorrows of those in our community who are joining us remotely. And I drop this stone to represent all the joys and sorrows that are with us, and yet they are not shared yet. They may be with people who are not joining us today or able to join us today. Please join me for a moment of prayer. Spirit of life and love, great and gracious God, that spirit that is close to us as breath, and as large as the universe, which can never be fully named or known. We offer up our thanks in this moment, our thanks that we can be together. Although it is not quite the way we want it to be, it is a gift to be in community, one people in faith, gathered to worship. We offer up our prayers of consolation and compassion for all those who are struggling today, those who have dropped stones, representing grief, loss, anxiety, fear. We know those emotions are real and among us, and so we offer up our hearts to those who are struggling. And we give a prayer of thanks for all those who celebrate today, no matter what the occasion. We need those celebrations to lift us up, to buoy our spirits, to help us through the hard times. We are grateful. We are so grateful that we can be together. We offer up these prayers in the name of all that is holy and in all the holy names. Amen. And so we will sing Spirit of Life together, and Melissa Netza has kindly offered to lead us in the motions. We're trying to add a little movement to the service, so we invite you, if you'd like to rise in body or in spirit for the movements, but even if you don't, if you stay seated, you can still do these movements as we sing together Spirit of Life.
Should we play through it one time and go?
Sure, except you don't have a mic, but.
Here comes the wind.
Spirit of life, come unto me. Sing in my heart all the stirrings of compassion. Blow in the wind, rise in the sea, move in the hand, giving life the shape of justice. Roots hold me close, wings set me free. Spirit of life, come to me, come to me.
Thank you so much, Melissa. Thank you all. We'll be practicing that the next few weeks until we get it down.
We'll get it.
So before we take the morning's offering, I'm going to report to you that last Sunday in our in-gathering service, when we had Share the Plate Sunday, and our offering was offered to the UUSC Haiti Relief Fund, we raised nearly $2,000 for that fund. Thank you for your generosity. And anytime during this month, you can use the electronic text to give function to give to that fund if you didn't get a chance last week. But now we will accept this morning's offering, your generosity to support this church and its work in the world. We are doing that still electronically, both for those who are online and those who are here. You'll see the phone number that you can call or use your text function on your smartphone, or use the QR code on your song sheet to let us know how much you would like to donate today, offer to the church itself. We thank you for any and all of the funds you offer to us and sharing your generosity in that way. Thank you.
Good morning, everyone. I tried to get my mic in a spot where it's not popping, so hopefully that'll work. This month, we're talking about embracing possibility, right? And there are a lot of ways to embrace possibility. One way is to just think big and imagine all the different possibilities. And that's great. That's a lot of fun to do. Another way to embrace possibility is when we're faced with a challenge, to let go of the way that we were planning to do something and to do something different, to pivot, to change, to try something new. That's another way of embracing possibility, and maybe that's even a little harder than just dreaming big. Part of that is resilience. Resilience is a word that means working really hard and keeping going even when we face failure. Today, I'm going to tell you a story about someone who embraced possibility and showed resilience. This is the story of Vanetta Flowers. Now, Vanetta was a really, really fast runner when she was a little girl. Give me a me too if you are a really, really fast runner. I am not, but Vanetta was. Maybe you were when you were little. Some of us are little and some of us are very fast runners. So when Vanetta was 8 years old, a coach named Coach Thomas went around to all the schools in her area in Atlanta. And Coach Thomas was looking for the fastest kids in the city because he was going to make a running team, a competitive track and field team. And when he saw Vanetta, he knew she had something very special. Vanetta trained with Coach Thomas for 10 years. She trained in a lot of track and field events. If you know about track and field, you know that it's not just running, it's like long jump and high jump, and there's a lot of different things. Vanetta trained in a bunch of them, but her two best events were long jump and the 100-meter dash. So she focused on those, and all through high school and college, Vanetta trained in track and field. She was a 7-time All-American in her sport, which is really, really impressive. But Vanetta's dream was to win an Olympic gold medal. And that's what she tried to do. So in 1996, she went to the Olympic team tryouts, and she tried out in 100-meter dash and in long jump. And she tried her very, very best, but she didn't quite make it. She came so close, but she didn't make the team. So do you know what she did? She kept trying. She worked really, really hard to try out in 4 years for the next Olympics in 2000. She decided to just focus on long jump. She decided that was her best activity. And so she focused on that, and she was training for those 2000 tryouts. And then 5 months before the tryouts, she was injured. And even though she tried out in 2000, she wasn't at her peak performance level. And again, she didn't make the team. Now, at that point, Vanetta decided that she was going to let this dream go. Sometimes we have to do that, you know? She decided she was going to let her dream of a gold medal go and just move on. But I have to tell you something else about Vanetta. She had a husband named Johnny, and Johnny was also a runner. And Johnny saw this sign, a poster, advertising the US Olympic bobsled team. And Johnny, they were looking for track athletes because if you think about how bobsled works, at the top of the track, they run as fast as they can and they push those really heavy bobsleds. And the faster you get a bobsled going at the top, the faster it's going to go down the track. So they were recruiting track athletes for bobsled. And Johnny wanted to try out. Now, Vanetta was skeptical because they lived in the South. And the only thing they knew about bobsled was from the movie Cool Runnings. But she decided they would give it a try. She would support her husband, and they went to the tryouts. And Johnny got injured. So Vanetta took his spot in the tryouts, and she tried out. And 2 months later, Vanetta was touring the world as a member of the US Olympic bobsled team. And in 2002, she went to the Olympics, to the Winter Olympics, and she competed in bobsled. And you know what? She won a gold medal. And that's not the coolest thing about her story. There's 2 more things I have to tell you about Vanetta. One was 2002 was the first year that women competed in bobsled. Before that, it was a men's event. So in 2002, when she won gold, she was the first woman, one of the first women, because there were 2 people on her team, one of the first women to win gold in bobsled ever. And she was also the first person of African descent to ever win a gold medal at the Winter Olympic Games, which is a super amazing accomplishment. And I love Vanetta's story. I love how she took a challenge and turned it into a new possibility. Thank you for listening to my story today.
Reading? Do you have a reading? I thought you did. I can almost see it, that dream I'm dreaming, but there's a voice inside my head saying you'll never reach it. Every step I'm taking, every move I make feels lost with no direction. My faith is shaking, but I gotta keep trying, gotta keep my head held high. It's always gonna be another mountain, I'm always gonna wanna make it move. Always gonna be an uphill battle, sometimes I'm gonna have to lose. Ain't about how fast I get there, ain't about what's waiting on the other side. It's the climb. The struggles I'm facing, the chances I'm taking, sometimes might knock me down, but no, I'm not breaking. I may not know it, but these are the moments that I'm gonna remember most. Just gotta keep going, and I gotta be strong. Just keep on pushing on, 'cause there's always gonna be another mountain, always gonna wanna make it move, always gonna be an uphill battle, sometimes I'm gonna have to lose. Ain't about how fast I get there, ain't about what's waiting on the other side. It's the climb.
Thank you, Joy. So I have to admit that I'm feeling a little down this week. I got some bad news. It wasn't horrible news. Don't worry, it wasn't terrible news, but I received a text from a friend of mine, and he and I had been planning to run the Philadelphia Half Marathon together in November. Not fast running like Vanetta. Don't believe me, not fast. But we had been planning to run together this half marathon. And while we were living, he lives in Philly, we're out here. We were training together, comparing notes on how our running was going, and then we had planned to have a couple of training runs when the race got closer, so we'd actually go together. But anyway, I got a text from him, and it told me that he had injured himself. And he didn't know if he would need surgery as a result of it, but either way, he is out of the race. And there's no way that he could continue training. And so, as I say, this wasn't a major blow, but it makes me sad just the same. Because I have run the Philly Half several times now, and I've told you about the first time that I ran it. It was with this friend. Some of you have met him. And the first time I ran it, it was because he had a heart transplant and he wanted to run the Philly Half, and we ran it together, and it was an amazing experience. The second time I ran the half, I convinced our older daughter, Rebecca, to run. And so she and I ran it together, similar, trained remotely, and then ran together. And then the third time I ran with my friend Don, a running partner of mine, and we trained together and he ran it with me. And I don't know, maybe it's me, but each time somebody's run it with me, they say they're never going to run it again. But each time it was with someone else until 2 years ago, when I couldn't convince anybody to train with me and run the Philly Half. So I decided to do it by myself. And I will tell you, it was a miserable experience to run a half marathon all by yourself, not pacing with someone, not having someone there to kind of encourage you when you're flagging, to encourage them when their energy's down, to celebrate at the end. And what's funny about this is I actually had my best personal time in that half marathon when I was running by myself, but I felt awful at the end. And I swore I would never run another half marathon all by myself. So, as I said, learning that my friend won't be able to run this race this year has me a little down. Now, if you were here last week, you'll remember that I offered us an image of a stone, of a boulder, poised at the top of a hill. You remember that? That stone, I said, was pure potential, pure possibility. And that's how it felt as we gathered last Sunday in person and remotely online. Like we were that stone at the top of the hill, just getting ready to roll. But let's face it, more often than not, our lives feel like we're endlessly pushing that boulder up the hill. Not that it's poised and ready to roll down, but that we are pushing it. We're pushing a great stone, just like Sisyphus in the Greek myth, who was punished for all eternity having to push this stone up a hill. We experience our lives many times like a series of endless struggles, sometimes small, sometimes so great it feels that that stone is just going to roll back on top of us and crush us. We are each facing challenges both insignificant and overwhelmingly weighty. From problems on a global scale, climate change, the pandemic, the threats to our democracy, to those that are very personal, our kids, our spouses, our jobs, ourselves. Sometimes what's possible seems to be entirely and overwhelmingly impossible. It's hard to persist, to persevere through the impossibly dark nights of the soul, to survive until the rising sun reveals the dawning of the possible. But there is something that will always get us there. It will always see us through. It's not some magic elixir, nor is it some elusive and mysterious substance. And the great thing about this is that it is available to all of us. What will get us there, from the darkness to the light, from the impossible to the possible, is simply this: each other. Each other. Look around you. Take a moment to look at those who are gathered here, and if you're here remote, maybe scroll through the faces online. We provide the power to persist, to persevere. We provide it to one another. That's all, and that's everything. While our Western and particularly American culture trains us to be rugged individualists, the truth of our lives is that we cannot go it alone. We cannot run our half marathons without running partners. Or if we do somehow make it through alone, it's by the skin of our teeth and with a miserable experience. Here's how activist and author Marge Piercy puts it in her poem, To Be of Use, which may be familiar to some of you. She writes, "The people I love best jump into work headfirst without dallying in the shallows and swim off with sure strokes almost out of sight. They seem to become natives of that element, the black, sleek heads of seals bouncing like half-submerged balls. I love people who harness themselves, an ox to a heavy cart, who pull like water buffalo with massive patience, who strain in the mud and the muck to move things forward, who do what has to be done again and again. I want to be with people who submerge in the task, who go into the fields to harvest and work in a row and pass the bags along, who are not parlor generals and field deserters, but move in a common rhythm when the food must come in or the fire be put out. The work of the world is common as mud, botched. It smears the hands, crumbles to dust. But the thing worth doing well done has a shape that satisfies, clean and evident. Greek amphoras for wine or oil, Hopi vases that held corn are put in museums, but you know they were made to be used. The pitcher cries for water to carry, and a person for work that is real. We each have plenty of work that is real. There is no shortage of that, to be sure. What we need are running partners who can train with us, who can energize and excite us when our tanks are empty, who will remind us of the goals we're working toward and help us keep our eyes on that proverbial prize. Singer and activist Sonia Vetra Tinsley tells us that we must pick our team. We must pick our team. She says that there are basically two teams in the world and that there's evidence to support the arguments of both. The trademark of one team is cynicism. She writes, they'll tell you why what you're doing doesn't matter, why nothing is going to change, why no matter how hard you work, you're going to fail. Then there's the other team, another group of people who admit that they don't know how things will turn out, but have decided to work for change. They're always telling stories of faith being rewarded, of ways things could be different, of how their own lives have changed. They'll give you reasons why you shouldn't give up. So she tells us we have to pick which team we want to be on. For her and for me, the choice is clear. She writes again, if I'm going to stick with somebody, I'd rather stick with people who have a sense of possibility and hope. I just know that's the side I want to be on. And notice what this choice presupposes. That we choose which team we're going to be a part of, that there is a team, that there are these teams, that whether we're hopeful or cynical, it's all a team effort. We cannot be in the game unless we're part of a team. The last thing I'll say about this may be obvious, but I'm going to say it anyway. We don't just need others. Others need us too. We need to be encouragers as much as we need to be encouraged. We need to help recharge the wells of others just as much as we need our own wells refilled when they're running low. It can't be all take, take, take. We are called to give, give, give whenever we can. That's what it means to be in a reciprocal relationship, what it means to be part of a team. It's how we all move, how we all will move together from what seems impossible to persisting to the possible. And so, my friends, let us together submerge in the task and go into the fields to harvest and work in a row and pass the bags along. Let us together team up with those who strain in the mud and the muck to move things forward, who do what has to be done again and again. It is only by doing so, together, that we may push that boulder just a little further up the hill. Blessed be, and amen. I invite you now to rise in body or in spirit and to join in our closing hymn, When Our Heart is in a Holy Place.
When a heart is in a holy place, when a heart is in a holy place, we are blessed with love and amazing grace. When a heart is in a holy place, when we trust the wisdom of each of us, every color, every creed and kind, and we see our faces in each other's eyes. When a heart is in a holy place, when a heart is in a holy place, when a heart is in a holy place, we are blessed with love and amazing grace. When a heart is in a holy place, when we tell our stories from deep inside, and we listen with a loving mind, and we hear our voices in each other's words, then our heart is in a holy place. When our heart is in a holy place, when our heart is in a holy place, we are blessed with love and amazing grace. When our heart is in a holy place, when we share the silence of sacred space, and the God of our hearts stirs within, and we feel the power of each other's faith, then our heart is in a holy place. When our heart is in a holy place, when our heart is in a holy place, we are blessed with love and amazing grace. When our heart is in a holy place.
Please remain standing if you will. Before we say our benediction together, I want to once again thank all of those who made this worship together possible. I neglected to mention our hospitality team. Thank you, Mary Donnelly, for being our greeter. Lori Rice Spring for helping to coordinate the hospitality team, everyone who helped us set up today. Our tech managers, our musicians, Chrissy, your wonderful time for all ages. I would extinguish our chalice, but the wind has done that for us. We're going to have to figure that piece out and how to keep our chalices lit. But we know that in our hearts, those chalices remain lit despite the winds that may be encountered. So if you are at home, I think our tech managers probably have enabled you to unmute yourselves. Let's once again welcome the more than 50 people who are online. We can give them a wave and say hello. Thank you for all being here. You are a part of us. We are a part of you, and we are grateful that you joined us. The words of our benediction are printed on your song sheet. We have taken up, I know it's hard to hold the song sheet in your hands. Maybe you just put up one hand. We used to hold hands. Maybe we'll get back to holding hands again. But now let us recite our benediction together. For those who come here,
Thank God. May
May God go with you.
For those who come here embracing life, May life return your affection.
Affection.
And for those who come to seek a way, may a way be found.
Found.
The courage to take it.
Take it step by step.
Right. Thank you, everyone, for being here today.
Yay.
Thank you.
I'll remind those who are, you will be put into breakout rooms if you'd like to stay for coffee. And anyone who would like to help us kind of break down everything we set up, we welcome the help.
Very nice.
That climb stays on this